and forgive me if I can't say this, but people kind of mentally masturbate with all the different gear lists and, "Oh, I gotta get this thing, I gotta get this Shure SM7B, and then I gotta get," like it's like, "Okay, dude, you're just procrastinating." Which, like, I get. Like, I had undiagnosed ADHD until last year, so, like like, I understand procrastination. It is, like, my superpower when I'm off my medication, but that's how I know how to identify it. So, dude, I love gear too, but, like, usually when I'm going down the gear research rabbit hole, I'm not creating content. So that's number 1. And then number 2, people think that it has to be super well planned and pre-produced, like, I would hear, like, a bunch of my agency clients would be like, "Oh, I had a consultant tell me that I needed to, like, pre-produce and script every single one of my short form videos." And I'm like, "Cool, that's fine, but that's all you'll be doing. Are you also a CEO and a founder? Okay, then that's not the option for you." Like, they told you that because they wanted to sell you something. Like, basically, I guess the high level thing I'm trying to say is what Gary Vee would say, which is, like, document, not create. Film what you're already doing. Like, I throw out my camera and I just record the meetings I'm already in and redact any, like, sensitive information, um, and ship that. If you just do that, you're gonna be in, like, the top 10% of people making content, because the number one thing is people just don't post content. You can worry about making it fancy later, but just ship the V1. It's like ship and fix. It's like the Silicon Valley term.
All right, welcome everybody back to the Full Battery Media Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Trace, and I've got an awesome guest with me today. Now, would you like to tell people who you are and a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, my name is Josh Medlin. I am a social media strategist and content director based in Los Angeles, California.
That's awesome, man. How did you get into content and the whole content game? What kind of started you down this path?
Yeah, so I wish I had my camera with me right now, but I stole my parents' Sony Handycam when I was like 8 years old, and I say that I was making movies. Realistically, that's a very generous term to say movies. It was like I say also it was stop motion. It was not stop motion. It was like you could see my fingers like moving the little Lego guys around, and I was making little Lego films with my brothers and sisters, and then um, graduated from that into making like little skits. It was like right around when like Smosh and a bunch of like the early YouTubers were getting started, and I saw that and I was like, I could probably do that. I was not anywhere near close, but I was like 10 or 12, so I thought it was pretty close at the time. And then I just got obsessed with trying to make it look like I saw on YouTube, and then also like was seeing it in TV shows and the movies. So um, out of high school, I launched a wedding videography company, and then slowly, I never liked weddings. I hated it from the moment I started doing weddings. But I
Yeah.
I was in Virginia on the East Coast, and if you didn't wanna go to college, which I did not want to, and you wanna make money in video, it was either, like, go work for CNN in DC or do weddings. So, did weddings, and then as quickly as I could, pivoted out of that, like, started doing, like, promotional videos and courses for people in the wedding industry. Um and then 2020 hit, and all the events and stuff I was shooting went online, and I pivoted super hard into, like, online organic content, and that's when my video production company kinda shifted into, like, a organic content marketing agency.
Mm, that's awesome. Yeah, you've worked in the field for a long time, over a decade, and helped generate massive organic reach. Like, what was the moment you realized you actually understood what makes content work? Because, like, I've talked to a bunch of people, and like, not everyone does, man. Like, some people are like, "Yeah, I put out this video was great, but I have no idea why."
It's funny, I think it was my time working with Alex. So, I worked with Alex Hormozi for 2025. I was his social media, manager for his short form. So it's Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, and I had a lot of these strategies in my head, but I had a lot of, imposter syndrome around it, like, oh, like,
Mm,
I had no imposter syndrome surrounding the video production capabilities because 'cause I'd been doing that since I was 8. So I was like, "Yeah, dude, I've I've got this figured out. I've done every mistake in the book. Like, I know what not to do now, which means I do know what to do."
yeah.
Um, and I still had a little bit of imposter syndrome around the social media strategy stuff, especially because in my, content marketing agency, a lot of the a lot of my retainer clients, they were, like, smaller business owners and stuff that had so it was literally, like, going from 0 to 1 with their content stuff, which is a
Yes.
lot harder than someone like, growing someone that already has a bit of an, following, and when I got into acquisition, they pretty much like, we had the onboarding period and stuff, and they taught me the ropes and, like, Alex's brand voice and stuff, but after that, they were like, off to the races. It's like, "Go for it." Like, figure out like, test your strategy and let's see what works, and then, Q1, we did 137,000,000 views, and then Q2 was, like, the first full quarter where it was my strategy. We did 337,000,000, and then wrapped out the end of the year with, like, 1,500,000,000 views on his accounts. So, like, at that point, I was like, "Hey, man, I guess I do know what I'm talking about to some extent."
That's awesome, man. I love that you're talking about brand voice as well, because you kinda have to get into that, but then stretch and grow, beyond where that's at. Because, I mean, when you come into an existing brand, there are the way things are done and there's kind of the parameters, but then you have to take it and sit there and go, well, what does it really need to be doing? I mean, like, there's certain way to do things. And like, let's just imagine, like, I'm going to step back from content. And I had a guest on the other day, to my other podcast, the Sean Trey Show. And he was a really cool guy, Jared, and he's a firefighter, but he saw my guitars in the background. And he's like, dude, I love guitars too. And he started talking about how he makes his own guitars. And I was just like, okay, that's a flex right there. And,
Super, yeah.
I was just like, that's right. And then he showed me his electric guitars that he made, and they were beautiful. Right. But one of the things too is like, there is a way to make a guitar. Like, there is, and like, but once you figure out the way to make a guitar, he's like, this is my first guitar. And I was like, it looked good. Then he showed me his second guitar, and I was like, God damn, And he's
Yeah.
like, once he figured out the certain way to do it, then he kind of was like, okay, now I've got this idea of what a electric guitar is, and I understand the basics. Then you can start putting the stuff on there that really makes it shine. And so that's kind of the interesting thing is like, when you learned, you got in, and then as you started getting a little bit of your strategy implemented, what were the changes that you made that, started to get that goddamn shining through?
Well, it really was I would like to say it's some fancy strategy, but I think the hot take with that I have at least with social media stuff and my year working with Alex confirmed it because my strategy was not that complicated. And I think people overcomplicate social media. The basic fundamentals of what I did was we tested a bunch, like 3 posts a day. We collected up the winners every week. And we said, "Okay, we're gonna do more of this and less of that." And then we rinsed and repeated.
That's
But the
awesome.
the the part that people don't get to is it's like most things in life, like, like following a budget or being on a diet. Like, it's very easy to conceptually understand, but actually hard to do in practice.
Yeah. Right? Right? I love that one, the great reference. I have a podcast called Growing Money with Sean Trace. I've got a lot of fucking podcasts. But
Dude, I love it. I love it, man.
the yeah, I mean, but they're all stuff that I just wanted to talk to these interesting people, and because, like, why not, man? And, like, but the personal finance podcast is one of my favorites, and I started this because I knew nothing, and I still will categorize myself as someone who does not know a lot about money, but I'm learning. But with
Sure.
every financial advisor I talk to, they're like, "Yep, I put my client on a budget." And then life happens, and they're like, it's not like that. If it was easy, it is easy, but, like, it's the following it that's hard. And it's like, I'm
Yep.
onboarding a new social media manager this week for my brand. I've got 2 people coming in. I've got a daytime person and a nighttime person, to kinda
Congrats,
help
man.
out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm super excited about it. 2 really cool individuals, and I put together the training, and it was really, 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 really simple. It's like, you gotta do this, 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 and this, and we do that every single day, and then the next day, we do it again. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And they're like,
Yeah, it
"What
doesn't
else?" That's it.
yeah, I had I've posted this a couple of times on LinkedIn, but I think that, if you're confused when you get advice about social media, you're usually, like, at the top of someone's funnel. Like, it
Mm,
shouldn't be that complicated.
right?
But, like, I've worked, like, specifically in, like, the online digital product, like, webinar course funnel for, like, 8 of the 12 years I've been doing this, and So I know when I'm being pitched, and dude, like, the number one thing you do when you're about to get someone on top of the funnel is agitate the problem. So, like, if you're just agitating the problem, like, go to a webinar, you're like, "Nah, I feel kinda fucking more confused." You're about to get a 7-day sales sequence, let me tell you.
Right. Dude, that is so true. I was watching a video online the other day, and it was like, "I'm gonna tell you this," and I was just like I finished the video, and I felt stressed, and I was like, "I need to know more. I need to know more," and then I was like, "Oh, well played. Well
It's like, if only
played."
there was a solution. Oh, there is.
Me, you know?
Yeah, it's me. I
Right?
have this product and a pricing ladder, so, like, I can scale you up into my $40,000 a month coaching at the very end of it. So, yeah.
100%, and that's one of the things too the other day. I had a client come to me, and, she came in, and one of the things is, like, she was like, "I wanna be doing more. I was working with this person, and they gave me this strategy, and it was really complicated." She sent me over the strategy, and it was just like I was like, "God damn, this is a type of thing," and she sent me over the product that was being delivered, and I looked at her and I said, "First of all, I'm not gonna pitch you on this. I don't think we're a fit, like, and that's not a problem, it's not a judgment," but I said, "Here's what I would tell you need. First of all, you need a better camera. Like, what you're shooting right
Mhm.
now looks like it's been shot in, like, 1995." And there's no judgment on that, but cameras have come a little bit of a way since then, and I would recommend something like but then the thing is I said, "Beyond that, you've got a little mic," and I said, "Just go film, like, just start recording yourself, and start getting it
Mhm.
out there." And she's like, "But I don't need to do this, this, and this." And I said, "No." And honestly, what I'm offering is overkill for what you're doing right now. Like, it's like at the same time, and I was like, "I don't wanna be trying to take all your money to do all this giant package and then have the video look like this. Like, let's have some fun." She's like, "All right, I'm gonna get a new camera and I'll call you back." I was like, "Cool." And I will help you with that as I can. But like, one of the things that I was struck by, and when I talk to people, it's like when I start talking to people online and they're asking about video and stuff, there's all of these misconceptions a lot of people have. They've got this
Yep.
either A, they need to have this, like, "I need to have the maxed out studio and this and that." And I was like, "Well, maybe, that's what your brand needs, but probably not, you know?" But I wanna talk to you because you've helped a lot of founders tell their story. Attack you in my room.
Oh my
You
god.
elbow strike
You're
to my
good, you're good.
yeah, so sorry about that. I do train Muay Thai. It's a little, like, reflex that pop out.
Yeah, it was sneaking
Uh,
up on you, dude. You had to let 'em
you
know.
gotta watch out. Those computer stands are dangerous. When founders tell you they wanna grow online, what's the first misconception you usually have to break for them?
Mm.
Besides their ego. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, ego probably ties into the rest of it, but I think the huge one, and that's why a lot of I made like freebie like lead magnets and stuff, going back to the whole sales sequence. Um, because I don't have anything to sell. I'm just collecting emails just for fun, like Pokemon. Um, I would make like quick start video guides, basically just trying to simplify the video production process. And now that I've branched out into also like social media strategy and stuff, I'm trying to do the same with social media strategy. I think what you just mentioned there is kind of the crux of it is people, and forgive me if I can't say this, but people kind of mentally masturbate with all the different gear lists and "Oh, I gotta get this thing, I gotta get this Shure SM7B, and then I gotta get like it's like, okay, dude, you're just procrastinating.
Yes.
Which, like, I
Yeah.
get. Like, I had undiagnosed ADHD until last year. So, like like, I understand procrastination. It is, like, my superpower when I'm off my medication. But
100%.
that's how I know how to identify it. So, dude, I love gear too, but, like, usually when I'm going down the gear research rabbit hole, I'm not creating content. So
100%.
that's number 1. And then number 2, people think that it has to be super well planned and pre-produced, like, I would hear, like, a bunch of my agency clients would be like, "Oh, I had a consultant tell me that I need to, like, pre-produce and script every single one of my short form videos." And I'm like, "Cool, that's fine, but that's all you'll be doing. Are you also a
100%.
CEO and a founder? Okay, then that's not the option for you." Like,
Right?
they told you that because they wanted to sell you something.
Yeah.
Like, basically, I guess the high level thing I'm trying to say is what Gary Vee would say, which is, like, document, not create. film what you're already doing. Like, I throw up my camera and I just record the meetings I'm already in and redact any, like, sensitive information, um, and ship that. If you just do that, you're gonna be in, like,
Yeah,
the top 10% of people making content, because the number one thing is people just don't post content. You can
yeah,
worry about making it fancy later, but just ship the V1. It's like ship and fix. It's like the Silicon Valley term.
I love that. Couple things. Uh, Dude, I love ship and fix. First of all, that's awesome because that's what I tell my team. Like when they're making podcasts for us, I was like, dude, like they're like, is it perfect? I was like, I don't give a shit. I mean, like, it's like the majority of the people are not watching the entire like I'm totally gonna leave in me elbow striking my computer stand over there because dude, that was fun. And my ADD self, I've got so much stuff around me, dude. I'm with you. I've got, like, the fidget toys that I have to be having something in my hand because
Yep.
if I don't, like, I'm just gonna be like, "Doo, doo, doo, doo," you
Pacing
know?
the room, forget
A
where you're
hun
at. Yeah,
100%, man, and I'm with you, and I'm a checklist person. Like, I grew up with a mom who's a psychologist, and I luckily got my ADD diagnosed when I was really young, and, like, the first thing that I did was, like, I'm
that's
like a
awesome,
check
man.
yeah, dude, if I don't have my list, this is my today list, this is my weekly master list. And, dude,
Got
right?
my checklist right there, dude.
Dude, you know it, man, because otherwise I get nothing done. And but, like, that's the thing is, like, every single day, I'm like, "What do I gotta get done this day?" And ship it, and finish it up because you're right, there is this preconceived idea that everything needs to be polished and expensive. Like, I had this
Mhm.
my wife is a famous singer here in Vietnam, which is I'm kind of mildly flexing. She was the first winner of Vietnam Idol.
You're like,
She's
"Yeah."
rad. Yeah.
That's
You
awesome,
know?
dude.
She's cool as hell, and but the one thing is, like, last year or a couple years ago, like 2 years ago, we got into this team partnership with this one really top-end music producer. We s She spent a shit ton of money on this project, and, like, they were like and they just kept the budget kept getting higher, and we gotta do this, and they had these 3 songs, and it was freaking expensive. And, like, at the end of the day, I looked at her and I was like, "Alright, I need to teach you a concept called ROI, return
Yep.
on investment." And I said, "This" and then when we finished this one song, it's fucking phenomenal song. It was really beautiful, but the thing that came out of it, she got 2 shows out of it. 2. And then so I said, "Alright, we're revamping our production style." I'm like, "We're going cheap, we're going fast, we're going clean, and it still looks good." I'm shooting this, and we found this studio that has this beautiful LED background, like stage, and the guy does, like it's $100 for, like, a 10 camera setup. I kid you not,
Dang,
dude.
dude.
Dude, like, I was, like, trying to think, I was like, "Dude, I need to pitch this to artists in the US. Come over here, and we'll set up and do, like, 6 music videos for you fast and easy, like, with an
Yeah,
LED
yeah.
background." And so but I was like, "Yeah, I think that the tickets flying over make it prohibitive." But still, we get my wife in there and I'm running my Sony on a gimbal, so just getting the extra shots I need. And we're shooting 4 songs in a day, and we're blasting these things out, cutting reels from them, making them, and my team still makes it look phenomenal. But it's
Yep.
not $20,000, It's much, much cheaper, and we're getting more content out. And you know what? The numbers have been climbing because it's not about having the one. And I think that's something that comes from the old marketing days. Like, you
100%.
you needed the one commercial, that Super Bowl-esque commercial that was, like, whatever it was at that time, that was the commercial that everyone talked about. That's not how content works anymore, and that's the
Mm-mm.
misconception that makes me crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a tough needle to thread because I am a self-proclaimed perfectionist, but one of the things I had to, like, deconstruct with short form content in particular is this is probably also a bit of a hot take, but short form content is disposable. Like,
Yeah.
it has a longer shelf life than you think, but dude, like, I can't like, you
It's
can't
not
marry every single piece of content. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, when we were posting on Alex's account, if I posted a short and it did bad, like, performed under the account average, it was buried in other content a week later because we were
Yep.
posting so much content, and that's basically the way you have to think about it.
I love that. everyone wants that thing that's gonna be evergreen, but you gotta realize that that ain't short form. Short form is a numbers game. It is simply about being visible and being present and being constant. And I'm just fascinated by, like, where things might go because, like, the other day, I was looking at the new Meta glasses with the, heads-up display in them, and I was just like,
Mhm.
"Man, we're gonna be looking at a whole new, like, realm of POV type stuff coming up soon, so, it's gonna be even more so, but I wanna shift into a different question before I go down that rabbit hole.
Sure.
You say content isn't as complicated as people make it. We've kinda touched on that, but, like, if you strip everything down, what truly matters the most?
The single most important thing with content is testing at scale, and testing at scale for the purpose of validating concepts and ideas. What I mean
Mm,
by that is with most of my agency clients, and we also did this with Alex, it's like let's use Alex as an example. Like, we're shipping a bunch of tweets. If a tweet overperforms, we package that into a carousel. We will string a bunch of tweets together, and we'll have him read them off because that
mm.
copy is now validated because it outperformed everything else on the channel. If we see with other agency clients, if they had a top performing TikTok, I would take the transcript from that TikTok and repackage it into a carousel because that copy that was in the TikTok overperformed. If there's something about that video that did really well hook wise, don't reinvent the wheel. Do the same hook over and over and over again until it stops working. I think the part that people make complicated is they feel like they have to be fancy and be like an artist every time they make a piece of content, where it's like you sadly have to kill part of the artist inside of you when you're making short form content, at least. Because it's like, if you're gonna be putting all this effort in, like going back to the ROI, you wanna make sure that it's worth it. Like, you don't be posting a bunch of content and it's all flopping. You can't make it go viral every time, but you can de-risk each rep by using validated concepts and copy, and you do that only by posting a lot. So it's not even necessarily that you're posting a lot so you can just crank the views. You're posting a lot so you can speed up the feedback loops and the testing at scale to see what actually works and what doesn't work. Because a lot of people will make up in their mind, they think they know what the audience likes, but you don't really know what the audience likes until you test a bunch of stuff and they tell you. They vote with
Yeah.
their likes and their views.
I love that because Um, one of the things that I've worked with my own brands and, like, there's the stuff that I want to create and want to share, and then there's the stuff that, like, takes off, and, it's not always the same thing, and I find that, like, I kind of have to balance the 2, like, but if you're not getting views, you don't have a platform to really talk about the stuff you wanna talk about, and so you gotta
Right.
find that balance, you know?
Yeah. I'll say, to be clear, what you just mentioned is a very good, like, side note. It can't be all like, I'm a bit jaded because 'cause I've been in this for 12 years, but you can't just be making stuff that's, gonna kill your soul, you know? You have like, obviously getting views and stuff is part of the game, but, like, if at the end of the day, most creators are artists at in
Yeah,
some shape or form, obviously, it's like a spectrum, but if you just refuse to ever do anything that lights you up creatively, you're gonna burn out, and that's why a lot
100%.
of people burn out. So it's not all or nothing. It's not all just the, Walmart assembly line, highly manufactured content or the artisan one-on-one content. It's a bit of both, like you just mentioned.
I run into that the most with my daughter's YouTube channel. I say my daughter's, but when, the pandemic hit, like, I was stuck homeschooling my kids, and I worked for many years. My side hustle while I was building my content stuff with my wife was I taught kids English. I was a teacher, and I'm actually a phenomenal teacher. I love teaching, but I like content more. But one of the things is, like, when the pandemic hit, I was homeschooling my daughter and her 2 and my nephews, her 2 cousins. And, because the school shut down for entirely for a year here in Vietnam. And so they all went online and I was like, well, I'm gonna teach and supplement. But when I was looking for content online, I couldn't find stuff that was educational and was like what I wanted to be teaching. So we
Mhm.
started this educational channel called Ilani's Little World, and it it's been super fun, and we talked to all these scientists, we talked to, like, NASA scientists about how to build a rocket, and then we do a how to build your rocket episode. Now,
That's dope, dude.
it's
Super
awesome,
cool.
and, like, the channel gets okay views, but the thing is, like, the ones that get great views are not always what I wanna be pushing, and so it's like
Mhm.
there's balancing point because I'm like, as an educator, I'm not gonna stop the educational content, like, we're like, "Slime! Let's look at slime," and it's like 1,000,000 views, and then, like, "Let's talk to
Right.
a NASA scientist." It's like, "Mm." But I'm just like, "You know what? I creatively have to keep following what I like, but at the same time balance it." So, yeah, man, I hear what you're saying because you can't go one way or the other.
I think you pointed out something, interesting that we could dive down if you'd like to, but,
I'd love to.
um, I think, like, we've been talking kind of, like, with a preconceived notion that, like, obviously maximum amount of views is what you want. That's not always the case. Like, sometimes niching down, and getting a little bit less views makes your brand stronger for the exact scenario that you just mentioned. Like, I'm gonna use Coco. You know about Coco Melon, right?
Of course, yeah,
Coco Melon, I feel like, has a very bad brand because it's a lot of overstimulation, it's colors, it's essentially slop. Um, Other brands, like Miss Rachel, she
yeah,
has a much better brand, and that's because she's putting out less content, but the content she's putting out there is, like, based in psychology, child psychology, and all this stuff. Um, Obviously, she's not getting a little bit of views, she's getting a lot of views, but I think
yeah.
maybe she would have grown faster if she'd gone the Cocomelon route, but
Mm,
eventually that audience found her, and they only found her and now she has, like, such a diehard like, fan base and demographic of people that follow her because she stuck to her lane, and that made her brand a little bit stronger. So, basically, again, like most things in life, it's a little bit nuanced, but you just have to ask yourself what kind of play are you trying to make? Like, are you trying to be a Mr. Beast, or are you trying to be something that's like, that gets decent viewership, but converts into diehard fans?
I love that. And one of the things too is, like, I thought and I was, like, filling that niche, because when we started, it was like, my daughter's channel, it was the height of the kids' channel craze,
Yeah.
let's go there was one video, and I was just like and it was a wake-up call to me, and it was this one kids channel, and the kid did role playing of, like, life situations, and, like, she's like, "Now I'm in the club. Now I'm going to the" and I was just like, "What the hell is this, man?"
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, at that point in time, I was like, I don't wanna be like everyone else. I don't want this channel to be like everyone else. And I was like, even if we don't have a huge viewership, but if we can be the place and what I found is like what our niche was stuff, videos that teachers would search for. The scientific method for kids. What is the scientific
Yeah.
method? What is plate tectonics explained? And that was like something that we were able to kind of lean into and become a place that people would go. And like as my daughter gets older, we just keep investigating stuff that she thinks is cool. So she's like, "Dad, I want to talk about the deadliest spiders." I was like, "All right, cool. Let's find the YouTuber that talks about the deadliest spiders and get them on and find out like what they can show us on like a webcam. Like this is my deadly spider because I can't get access to that. So it's been fun like
Yeah,
that.
that's I would say a relatively underrated growth strategy for YouTube. Um, my Obviously with Alex, I was doing short form, but, like, my agency was all pretty much long form, and then we cut it up in the short form. What you just described actually is a growth strategy. It's like, what is your niche, and what topics have high search volume, but low results. So, like, we
Mhm.
were just talking about, like, in kids content, there's not really as much scientific stuff, so, like, there's an obvious need for that.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, you can confirm that with, like, Google Analytics and, like, looking at the YouTube searches and seeing, but if you just make, like, a semi-decent production quality video in that
yeah,
topic, it's gonna shoot to the top because there's a huge demand for it, and it's not being filled.
yeah, 100%. Well, this is interesting too because I think that, we were talking a lot about um, personal branding too. And, when someone starts building their own personal brand, what changes in their mindset do they kind of need to make when they start going down that path?
I think a lot of people look at someone's, like, year 10 and be like, "Oh, well, like, they have all these things that they're known for," and then they're immediately trying to figure out what they're known for. again, I'm gonna circle back to you don't know what you're known for yet. You have to just post your interests, and then your audience will tell you which interests they wanna hear more of, and those will become the things that you're known for.
I
Again,
love
going
that.
back to people making it too complicated. Like, you just have to start posting stuff. You have to start shipping stuff, and then, obviously, the other half of that is analyzing the results and seeing what is and isn't working. But, yeah, I think people just they think way too far ahead. They're thinking, like, 5, 6, 7 years down the road. It's like, "Dude, you haven't even posted your first video yet. Let's take a step back. Let's
Right.
click record and then press upload."
Right. I love that because you're so spot on. I, man, my podcast, my daughter's channel, my wife's content, all the stuff that we do for my family brands, we have gone through so many iterations, like a lot. And if I look back at my early podcast, man, the cringe factor is extremely high. And
Oh,
with
dude,
my
my digital footprint is so incriminating.
right? Oh man, it's
It's so much
painful.
cringe.
So much. I watched some early videos. Luckily, the ones with my daughter's channel were actually more fun, less cringe, more fun. But some of my own stuff, dude, yeah. There was one thing that I did. I was like going through this one period where I actually still love it, and I narrated one of my favorite poems, and it was "If" by Rudyard Kipling, right? But I was doing it to a song. Now, this is out there on the internet, so anyone can find it. But there was like this point where the poem finished, but the song hadn't. So instead of just cutting the video out, I have, like, 20 seconds of me fucking posing that I'm just like, "Look here, look there," and I just, like I watch that video and I love my narration, but the last 20 seconds, I'm just like, "God damn, what am I doing, man?" Just turning, and it's super, super, super horrible. But I look at that and I'm just like, "Well, that set the stage for later things that came, man," and it's like, as much as I judge it now, people still like the poem, but, like, very few people have commented, like, "What's up with the last 20 seconds of this guy's face being on screen?" No one says that. It's like, and I think that that's the thing, you can't overthink it, you just gotta put it out there and let it go and be able to laugh about it later on.
100% dude. And also, like, in the age of where, like, AI is becoming, like, more integrated and content's becoming more and more, like, polished and perfect, these stuff like that are like human moments, and
Right.
that's what's relatable. And even like you said, if the worst case scenario like you said they did comment or they didn't comment?
Very few commented, man, but if they
Okay, well,
had have,
even
I
if
would have laughed.
that's still engagement. So, like, that's good.
Right? I
My hot
agree.
take is I think that, like, spelling errors and, video glitches and random imperfections in videos in 2026 are going to be in,
I'm
which, like,
100%
pains my perfectionist self to say.
I'm 100% with you, man. I think and that's one of the so on my Barrels and my other freaking podcast that's about wine because I've got a love of something, it's like
My god, dude. You're a
People
connoisseur
send
of
me wine
podcast and
bottles now.
wine.
No, dude, but like now, like I started that podcast and people are sending wine bottles, but I'm in Asia, so it goes to my mom's house and my mom's like, "Can you please get this wine out of here? I can't handle myself." I'm like, "Mom, don't drink all the wine that's coming for me." She's like, "I did." And I'm just like, "Oh God." But like one of the things that's like on there is like I had this one guy, he's a super cool guy, but like he was like selling champagne and he created an AI avatar to sell their champagne. I was like, dude, I understand what you're going for, but, like, I don't wanna see I would prefer to see your face on the front of this popping bottles of champagne and telling me this is a good champagne. Some old French dude is way more appealing to me than some digital avatar that just is like, "This is Celine, our avatar," and I'm just like, I wanted to say, "Man, you're awesome, but this is the wrong direction to go," because people are gonna be like, "Dude, this is fake as hell." So is the champagne fake as hell? And it's like, that's the wrong direction, man. I love it, like, raw and gritty.
Yeah, dude, I think, that's a whole other, like, sub-tangent, but I think that the whole, like, AI avatars thing is dreamt up by people that have never made content or purchased something from an influencer. 'Cause it's like,
Yeah,
if you're just doing cold ads and, like, they're just holding the product,
yeah,
maybe, but most people buy from influencers. Like, I think of, like, tech products for me because that's, like I don't really buy anything for myself other than tech products. But, like, MKBHD or, like, one of the tech reviewers on YouTube, they review something and they give it high remarks, I wanna buy it because I trust
100%.
them.
100%.
I don't trust an AI. It's just saying whatever data set told it to say.
Right? I'm 100% with you, and I think that that's something that if I told people, like and I see it with, like I do a lot of, like, business people that we do videos for. I've done a bunch of reels for business executives and stuff, and I'm just telling them, like, they get their AI-generated scripts. I'm like, "Stop reading an AI-generated script, man, or get the talking points and then tell a story," because that is way more powerful for me, like, these are the 3 ways that you can both be more resilient. And like, well, dude, that's great from hearing it from the AI, but like, tell me about a time that you had to be resilient, you know? AI has never been needed to be resilient in his life, you know? It doesn't have a life.
I agree with you. Um, with AI stuff, with the way people misuse AI for content, 'cause I do use AI for content, but
Same.
people don't understand how to use it correctly. And what they
Mhm.
do is they say, "Hey, Chat, give me a video idea about surfboards." And then they just like regurgitate whatever it says. The better way to do it is to use like Notion AI, which is like what I use, or use Claude and like fill it full of a bunch of project knowledge. Going a step further, you can have it like I had it meta prompt me and, or I meta prompted it and I had it basically do like a little interview with me. Figured out everything about me and my brand, like basically like this podcast right now. And it stored it all in like project knowledge. And then if I give it a raw concept or idea that I have, it can package that along with like the SOPs around LinkedIn writing or tweet writing, what YouTube scripting, whatever it is. Again, I grabbed those by like just going for creators and stuff that I really value their expertise on. I put that in the project knowledge, and then it basically becomes like a little engine for turning my ideas into different concepts for different platforms.
I love that. Well, and that's one of the things that, I'm all about using AI in that way because one of the things that I found it was really hard. Fighting burnout is a real thing, and I see it for a lot of people. Like, I have one friend that I've been helping build his podcast, and I had to check in with him the other day because I was like, "You went dark on me. You okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I just got overwhelmed." He's like, "But I'm getting more shorts up. I'm getting back into the pod." And, what for you separates people who last from people who burn out, and how can people avoid burnout?
It goes back to not being too fancy and not
Yeah,
overcomplicating it. I think a lot of people will be like, "Oh, because I feel like I have the energy to do this sick cinematic edit as my core style right now, that you're gonna feel like that when you have a month where you're slammed full of client calls or you have a really like off-site work trip or something that takes you out of it. People
yeah,
don't think about making the content system replicatable. Again, it doesn't have to be complicated. Just because it's
yeah.
replicatable doesn't mean it's complicated. This is a system. It's a very basic system, but like it's a system that's sustainable because one is not too complicated, a notepad with check boxes on it, and it's here at my desk every day. So that it enforces the fact that I'll do it. People that burn out are like they pick an unrealistic goal. So like I'm gonna post 30 times a week or 10 times a week, and they've never posted anything before. And they're gonna
Right?
do this sick, complicated format like cinematics. They follow some creator that has a team of 30 people, and they're like, I want to make their content. It's like, dude, again, let's just go back to square one here so we don't burn ourselves out. Being able to post for a long period of time, aka being able to have your audience tell you what they do and don't like about your content is like the single most valuable thing you can be doing.
Yes.
I this is a bit of a tangent, but I was scrolling through my phone the other day because like the whole 2016 trend is going on. And I was scrolling back in 2016. For some reason, I have like no photos from 2016, but I do have one photo of a whiteboard. And on the whiteboard, it was when I was doing daily vlogs on
Nice.
YouTube. And it was like day 111. I think it was the day I quit. I stopped at 111 days straight. And it said, just keep uploading. And I got so fucking pissed at myself. It's like, dude, that was 10 years ago. Can you imagine where I would be at if I just kept uploading for 10 years straight?
Right?
It wouldn't have been those vlogs anymore. Like you mentioned earlier, like it, online content is inherently iterative. Like you're going to be iterating, pivoting, changing. When new platforms come out, like Vine came and went, and then there's Blue Sky. Like there's always different platforms that come out. But if you just keep posting, and the reason why that format wasn't sustainable for me, it's because it was daily vlogging. Like, that's like a you have to be Casey Neistat to do that. So
100%.
again, pick something
Right.
that you could do even in your worst month. You said you did
Yeah,
finance. It's like, if I can afford a card payment, it's not, "Can I afford this card payment, like, this month where I'm really rolling in cash?" It's like, "Can I afford this card payment on my worst month?" Think of the same thing for your content.
hell yeah. That's such a great comparison, man. I love that. I got 2 last questions for you today, and then
Sure,
then
man.
then wrap it up. But, like, if you had to start again from 0 today, what would your first 90 days look like? Or maybe even take a vacation.
So, am I traveling in a time machine, or have I just my entire life got torpedoed?
When you say it that way, um, you're starting a new project. You're starting something new. Let's do it that way.
Okay, so if I was to pivot and do something different,
100%.
I think I would do my own brand, which I'm starting to do a little bit of, but I still have clients and stuff. I think, like, if I was gonna I would bet on myself and go super
Love
hard on
that.
myself because I think, like I said, I had that imposter syndrome, and I was like, I can't go on myself, it's too unrealistic, like, blah, blah, blah." Funny enough, I'm the one preaching to other people, like, "Quit your job, like, who cares if it's unrealistic?" And then I'm not listening to my own advice. I would go all in on myself because if there's anything that I've learned through working with different people over the years is, like, I know what I'm talking about, and most people know what they're talking about. Like, if you're obsessed with one thing, you're lucky enough to be obsessed with something from 8 years old, like video, like, dude, you probably have a fair amount of knowledge on it, like, trust yourself and take the bet on yourself.
That's awesome, man. One last question. You had a post, and it was one of the things that I just was super excited about seeing. And you had the post, and it was just hit publish. Can you talk to me one last thing? Why did you create that, and what's the core message that you want people to have?
What was the post again?
You had this just hit publish post, like the whole long
Oh,
post was
just
like,
hit publish.
yeah, just post it, man. Just hit publish.
It was literally I think the reason why I said that is because I committed to myself, again, kind of going to what I just said in the last question of, like, being like, "Man, if I would have just kept uploading
Yeah.
10 years ago, Jesus Christ, like, dude, I would have figured something out by now." And,
Right?
like, I pivoted a lot and done a lot of, like, creation for other brands, so, like, I have gotten something, but if I would've just bet on myself and kept on uploading for 10 years, I would have been drastically further than, like, what I am right now. Um, so, like, the small going back to, like, what's sustainable, what can I commit to, is the LinkedIn posting. Like, I made myself, like, the little meta prompt in Notion AI, and, like, I have this, like, Josh Medlin brand, like, LinkedIn writing engine where and I constantly give it feedback and have it make more stuff, so I'm posting one time per day on LinkedIn for an entire year because I that's a pretty low lift. Like, sometimes I
Yep.
literally write them when I'm laying in bed with my daughter to put her to sleep. That's something on even, like, my most busy days I can still do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, it's like, dude, I want people to learn from my mistakes so that they don't have to look back 10 years ago at a picture they took that said, "Just keep uploading," and kick themselves.
I love that, man. Well, brother, where can people find out more about you and what you do?
Yeah, man. My main thing is LinkedIn right now. I'm trying to get better at posting to Instagram. So I've been recording meetings and podcasts that I go on. But it's just Josh B. Medlin on Instagram and just Josh Medlin on LinkedIn. I got a generic white boy name. So, it's pretty easy to find me.